Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of The Meaning of Life from Craig's Perspective. You're currently locked into season 4, episode 2, identity politics and racism. We are joined by a very special guest and she goes by the name of Elodie Christina. She's a YouTuber, influencer. Well, she has 11k, so I guess that qualifies her as an influencer. But who is she influencing? I believe she's a up and coming podcaster. I'm joking. She's
Yep.
already an established podcaster. She owns her own business. She's an independent woman. And for the topic of this episode, she's biracial. I know this wouldn't matter in any other episode, but it does today, guys. But I need to state some faults. So basically on Twitter, I did a poll, and I did another poll. I'm not going to say the name of the poll before I get dragged here by a certain group of people, social justice warriors. But then I deleted that one. I'm thinking, yeah, before I get dragged, then I'll make sure it's people black. And my intention wasn't to create plantain Twitter, as these Twitter people call it, when planting Twitter doesn't exist in real life. People just have to make a fuss about everything. So I did the poll, and I had like 350 followers at the time. Now I've got 400. Praise the Lord. Um, Nobody normally interacts with me, so I never thought people would interact with this one. Yeah, I know I'm a bit of a loner on Twitter, but we move. And then I ended up getting. I don't think I got. I'm not gonna lie and say I got a couple likes. I don't think I got any likes. I just got QTs, also in the quote tweets where people tweet above your tweet. For all those people that don't understand Twitter, people like plantain Twitter. Do we really have to talk about this? And then a girl reached out to me, and I was thinking, ish. I said a comment, I deleted it, tried to refresh the page as they said that person would be able to see it, but she DM'd me saying what you said was very dark, but you're entitled to your own opinion. And then I had a good conversation with her and I thought about it. You know what? Why don't we turn this L upside down? No, two L's make a W, yeah, guys. So I ended up doing that. And then I was like, you know what? Let me reach out to someone. And her name is Elodie Christina. She's already regular on the show, like DJ Vlad and his regulars.
Sure.
But I'm going to stop my waffling and let's get straight into it. So, Elodie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Elodie. Pretty much what Craig said. That was actually really nice.
Thank you,
I've
thank
never
you.
had an introduction like that. That was really nice. But yeah, I am biracial. I don't really talk about it that much, but I feel like I can add some personal experiences to the podcast to help other people. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. So let's get straight into it. Where are you from?
I'm from Bristol. Like from or like where I live.
Oh, now we're gonna have to get into the from. So
Because
where are
like
you?
I never know what people mean by that.
Okay, so where are you from?
Okay, so my mum is Jamaican and my dad is British.
Okay,
I could go
okay.
deeper, but no one wants to go into all the ancestry stuff, so half and half.
Yeah, we're all from West Africa. Let's get it straight. We're
Yeah.
all Africans. Okay. So is your dad white, mum mixed race in terms of lighter skin color? What is it?
My mum's black and my dad's white,
Okay, so
so
we
I'm
have
like just normal mixed race.
I
Yeah.
said normal, the generic ones.
Well, you know what I mean. Like I'm not 3/4 or anything. I'm just half and half.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so as a person of mixed heritage, is that right to say?
Yeah.
Okay, what was your experience growing up in Bristol? As a lot of people and myself perceive that to be predominantly a white area. So what was that like growing up?
Bristol is very mixed. There is a lot of black people. Something that people don't know. They think it's just farmers.
You weren't
It is
supposed to
very
say
black.
that. You make me look bad now.
No, it's all right. It's all right because I went to a private school, so I was around white people. Like I didn't have any black friends growing up. Um, so growing up with that, I'd say like my life was split into two. So I had my black family and all the black people we knew outside of school, and all the white people in school. But I say growing up in school was definitely I always felt like the odd one out. Like I always felt like the black girl. And it's the thing where I never even saw myself as black, but like I knew that people not like do you know what I mean? Like obviously I'm mixed race. So I was never thinking I'm more than the other. But in their perspective, I was more black than I was white. Like I remember one time, you know, paint on windows, like
Yeah.
in school where we used to paint, and they would draw everyone's hair like blonde straight hair, and then they go to Elodie and they do the like spray paint and just do like a blob of hair for me. And I just feel like, oh, okay. And it was just little things like the boys coming up to me and saying, does your family smoke weed? Do you listen to reggae music? Do you like Bob Marley? This one boy came into school and was like, Ellie, I've got your favorite movie for you. I was like,
Roots.
okay. And he was like, I was like, what is it? And he was like, it's called Run-Ins. I was like, do you know what that movie is?
Oh my gosh.
And
Oh
like, it was just a
nah.
generalization. And like he took it home for me to watch. And like, I know he fancied me, so I didn't think anything of it at the time. I mean, it's kind of cute, but like it was like they were doing their thing and I was on the other side, you know?
So would you say they
So
were
yeah.
uncultured? Very uncultured.
Um yeah, I just say it wasn't like they were racist. I'm not gonna chuck out and say they were racist. If you're growing up with like no black people, you are just ignorant to other experiences. So I would say
Yeah.
they were ignorant and they were only young. Like we're talking primary school up until like year 9. So like they didn't have that time to be educated on these things. So yeah, I just say that it was ignorance.
But year nine, I knew that I could. Okay, I'm not trying to put myself under the bus here, but I said some very stupid stuff. But I knew not what to say and what to say. So don't you think in year nine they should have come to at least an understanding of you can't say certain things, even though there may not be black people, but in your heart, I believe everybody knows what is right and what's not right. So even
Mm,
though they weren't racist, we know like I can't go to white people and just make generalized stereotypes and say it to their face because we know that can cause offense. You might banter with your friends in your group chat to say this and say that and say this and say that, but you
mm.
shouldn't go up to someone and say that's like me going up to a white person in year nine saying, "Do you just eat roast dinners for lunch, dinner, and breakfast?"
Yeah.
Wouldn't you
I
say?
like
Wouldn't
sandwiches and tea. Yeah. So I definitely think, yeah, no, they could have known better. And there was even a situation where one of my friends kept calling me her N word over and over again all the time. Like, hey, instead of saying Elodie, it'd be like, hi, my N word. And like, I didn't even say it me anyway. So it was weird. And then you know, got taken further to teachers and
did you
parents got
report it?
involved. I told my mum, and then my mum did whatever she did because she was like, I'm not having that. Um, but like, obviously I can only act from what I know now because I think when I was younger, I didn't really understand racism. I just like it was almost like I knew that white people just didn't really understand it, but I didn't know that like you know what I mean? I've had like
Yeah,
other
yeah,
people call me the N word and it's just like I wasn't educated enough to know my standpoint on it, if that makes sense. So I kind
yeah.
of just let it slide. But they definitely, when we got to secondary, they definitely knew better, but they didn't do better. So
So
yeah,
you gave
it
them the
was.
N. So you gave them the N word pass. Is that what I was saying
I didn't
here?
give them the N-word pass. I didn't think it was right, but I didn't not speak to them because of it. Because I mean, I was already odd one out as it was.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it was, I'm not going to do that to myself and then start getting over political. Not even like it's over political. Just speaking my views felt like it was too much. And like, I think I started getting more culturally
Aware.
like I started embracing my black side more by like around year 9, year 8, year 9, and I knew then it was even more prominent that like they looked at me in a strange way. Not they were racist. Like again, I don't know if it was racism or if it was ignorance, but all I know is that they just didn't treat me like every other white person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So how did your parents react? So I'm guessing after you told your parents that they called you the N word, but okay, let me change the question. Did your parents? Let me change the question again. Would you say you're struggling with your identity racially anyway?
Yeah,
Because
100%.
it seems like a lot of biracial people, and when I say biracial, for the sake of this episode, I mean a black parent and a white parent. Okay, black mom, white dad, white mom, black dad. So don't come at me and saying, biracial people, mixed race people, they're not just black and white. Yes, I'm not stupid
Mm.
people, but for the sake of this episode, so did your parents ever kind of hint up, or did you ever tell them that you're struggling with your identity?
I think they knew anyway. Um, I hated my hair. I grew up watching Hannah Montana and my teacher had this beautiful blonde hair. I cut my hair once and like wanted to relax it, straighten it. Whenever I was around my black side, I felt uncomfortable around the white side, like as in school, because
Yeah.
I didn't fit in. But then when I was around the black side, I was the posh white girl.
Oh
I'm quite
gosh.
pale as it is. So I definitely got bullied for years by my cousins, to the point where obviously we're all cool now, but
Back
silly
then.
like school behavior, silly children behavior. But um I told my mum that I wanted to move away. Like, I didn't want to live in Bristol anymore. I wanted to have a fresh start. I didn't want to talk to them because it made me feel so uncomfortable. And I think I was just torn between the two. Like, I wanted to be white when I was with the white people so I could fit into them. And then when I was around the black side, I was like, I'm not cultured enough. I am not black enough. And it just felt like I never, like, both sides were rejecting me. So
Yeah.
it definitely made me struggle with my identity.
That's crazy. You said not black enough. Do you mind delving into that? So, from your
Yeah.
experience, what do you mean? What is not black enough? The general stereotypes of all black people come from Jamaica. We smoke weed. We eat jerk chicken like 24/7. We're all thugs. We're all like what would you
Mm.
say back then
Um,
anyway?
yeah, I say when I meant not black enough, it definitely was down to stereotypical things. And because for them, like talking posh, talking properly, going to a private school, having white friends, living in a nicer area. I didn't live in the hood like my cousins did. So that was like, you are not one of us. Like
Yeah,
you don't have the same experiences as us. I was obviously like the church girl as well. I was a Christian church girl, and it was like, you are very out of our interpretation of what black is. And I feel like they know now, like obviously as we've grown up, it's like it's not just black and white as in who is black and who is not.
yeah.
But back then it was definitely around the stereotypical things that everyone knows.
Okay, so what are their do you still have do you ever have conversations with them now about their behavior, or is it just not something you want to go into?
Um, I think I've mentioned a few times that you lot used to bully me, but it's never been a deep conversation. I just feel like we've just all grown up now because they don't call me white. Like if they do, it's a joke and I find it funny and I'll play along with it as well. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not like, you know what I mean? But yeah, like it's not really a conversation really ever. I think it's just too, we're all very light-hearted people. We kind of just move on. Yeah, nothing really to talk about now.
yeah. Okay, okay. So here's the infamous question that a lot of people don't like, you know.
Hmm.
But what comes to your mind when you hear are mixed race people black? Because I did a poll, I believe about 67% said yes, and I forgot like the end details of people that said no, but it was the point dot thing. So, what was your reaction?
Well, I feel like it's such a broad question because, of course, like biologically, we can say yes, it makes sense that a mixed race person or a biracial person is not black, but they aren't white either. But I think when that question gets asked and people say no, it's like if you were to put a post up and say, are mixed race people white? The majority of people would say no. And it's
Exactly.
like, it's kind of like a double standard. And I feel like we have to take into consideration the cultural
Aspect.
things, like what I was just saying, that my cousins thought that I wasn't black and things like that. Like whether we like to admit it or not, those things get taken into account. And I'm not saying that I'm more black than another mixed race person, but if we look at society and how society, white people see black people, I know that they don't see mixed race people as one of them. Black people may not see them as one of them either, but let's face it, black people are minority groups, white people aren't. So I'm not saying we need to base everything around what white people think,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
think we have to take into consideration as a mixed race person living in a white society, being disregarded by the white side that I probably will never fit into, and then coming over to the black side and them saying, now you can't fit into us either. And I think we have to understand how that feels as a person. Like, I wouldn't say that I'm black. I don't go around saying that I'm black, but I understand, like, not fully like racism or anything like that. I'm not trying to take away black experiences, but I have grown up black. My mum's black. I don't see my dad's side. I've grown up around all of the typical black things that everyone knows. So when people say I'm not culturally black or anything like that, it's like I feel like they're taking something away from me that they don't have the right to. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. So how does that then
Yeah.
make you feel emotionally, mentally? Because it must be hard sometimes trying to sleep
Yeah.
at night, just deep in. Am I black? Am I white? Why don't people accept me? Like, hello, my mom's black, my dad's white. I'm like down the middle. Like,
Mm.
so how do you feel? Like generally, how do
I
you feel?
think um I think now it doesn't get to me as much because I know who I am and I'm comfortable in my identity. But there's been a few times, like on YouTube with my videos, where people have like commented saying, "You're not a part of the black community. We don't welcome you in here, blah blah." And I'm just like, why are you gatekeeping? Like, you aren't the creator of black people, so you can't tell someone what they can or can't. You know what I mean? Like, identify
Yeah.
as when I am black. Like, I have black in me.
So you are
Like, my
black.
mom would always say to me, if you turn around tomorrow and said you feel white today and feel black tomorrow, you're capable of doing that because you are both. You know what I mean? So I
Exactly.
think for me, like, because as I grew up, I started to feel more comfortable with my black side because I didn't feel like I related to my white side. Not saying that I disregarded it, but I felt more comfortable and more, can't really explain it. I felt more accepted with my black side. When
Because you
people would
grew
say
up
that I
around them.
wasn't, pardon?
Would you say that's because you grew up around them?
Yeah, I definitely think. And then especially when I left my private school, it kind of all hit me that like I just never fit in with them to start with.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like when I was then told you don't fit in, you can't fit in with us, it's like, but I don't, but I feel like I do. And it's
Yeah.
like I felt very isolated and I didn't really know what to think about myself. And it carried on for years. I'd say like a good decade. I was
Wow.
just like from when I was about 7, 8, I started deep in it all the way up until like about 2 years ago.
Oh wow, I'm sure you had to
Yeah.
go through that, man. That must have been
Yeah.
very tough as well. Well as your parents trying to comfort you, but at the end of the day, they don't know how it feels because they're like solid black and white. With you, I'd say it's kind of a grey area because people try to comfort you. Well, I'm guessing some people try to comfort you, but
Mm.
what do they say without trying to make you upset or trying to trigger a certain emotion? So now you've left your private school, whatnot. I guess how did you feel when you left, and then did you go to public school?
I went to public school, yeah, but it was still a white school.
So how was that then? Because the way you're describing these, when I say white people, I don't mean offense, but the white people there, they seem kind of
But
stuck up a bit, up their own
yeah.
asses a bit. I guess I'm gonna have to mark this as explicit now because I've said that word. But how was the transition? Because I'm guessing there must have been some black people in the public school, as you stated earlier, that there are black people in Bristol. I'm not trying to say that it's gonna be a lot,
Mm.
but yeah, how was that then?
So what do you mean, like how they
Treated
spoke
you
to me?
essentially, how they treated you,
Right.
how they spoke to
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Um, I just think it was just, yeah, isolating again with both sides. Like it's such a shame that it was both sides that was doing that to me. But I don't even know because it's like again as I was saying, it's like the ignorance and it's like I would try not to take it to heart because I was like they don't know any better. And like because I think as I began to grow up, I'd have conversations with my mum about it. She would tell me, obviously, it's not right that they don't know and they can't treat me in a certain way, but I think she just taught me just to not let it get to me. So I feel like as I grew up, I was just like, you know what? I don't actually care. I don't have the time to be sitting and educating you on what things should be. Obviously, if they were able to have a conversation, then sure. But I think I just got to a point where I was just very nonchalant about it. It was just like, you know what? I actually just don't care. I'm me. yes, when I was younger, it definitely affected me a lot more. Um, but now and in my public school, I was just doing me, and I didn't really care what people thought about it. So
Okay, okay, thank you,
yeah.
thank you, thank you. So next, on Twitter, I know I say Twitter a lot because I'm up there. I have like 25k tweets. I haven't even been there
Mm.
for a year. I classify myself as a serial tweeter. You're right there. You're right there.
Sorry, charger.
That's calm. But I've heard the term of erasure of black women. Um, because to be honest, me personally, as a black man, I'm coming to you as a black man. Yeah, to
Hmm.
me, it doesn't affect me. But I'll get into what I'm trying to say. But as a bit of background, when I see like black people, when they say black, me personally, this is me personally speaking. I'm not trying to speak on anybody else's experience, but when I used to see like a load of predominantly a white cast, and it's not, and the film isn't set in like a time where white people just essentially ruling the world, like the 1960s when segregation was, I'd say, at one of the peaks, like when it was at an all time high, like you see like in movies there's a lot of white people, maybe some people doing up Jim Crow laws and blackfacing, but now you go into like the 2010s to the 2005s, you finally see black people. Well, this is me. Well, I finally see black people, and I'm like, yeah, come on, my people. Unless it's a horror movie where the black guy is the funniest, has to die first. I'm like, come on, man, why? Just why? Why has
Yeah.
it got to be like that? Black Lives Matter, man. What's going on? You feel me? And then it turns out um that they're mixed race, even though on the show they're or the movie they're black. And then this leads into my point of on Twitter, I hear a lot of stuff about there's a ratio of black women and black folks because mixed race people, as we know for the sake of this conversation and to the viewers that should know, black mom, white dad, etc. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
B plus W. So like, what would you think? Because I've heard a lot of outrage of the erasure. What's going on? Why do you mixed race people have to play black people when they're not even black? They're white. What do you think about it? Because me personally, I think it's stupid. I believe to me that they are black. Yes, they are mixed race. But in today's society, if you were to go ask a white person, what do you think of a mixed race person? Would you say black or white? First of all, it's not as cutthroat as that. I believe they'd say me personally and what I've asked, yeah, that they claim them as black. And you know why I think they'd say that is because if you look back into slavery times, back in the plantation and them times there, I forgot there's like a certain term for it. We had a conversation in Twitter DMs after I got burnt
Yeah.
on Twitter, yeah, that the white I don't want to call my man the master, the white
Oh
mm,
no.
yeah, the white slave master would either rape the mom, as we know is black, or would have sex with them. But then the mixed race baby would go back into the plantation. So what would you think white people were saying? They weren't saying, "Oh, you're one of us, mate. You're white." Wouldn't you say they're identifying them as black people or classifying them as black people?
Mm.
And some of them would
Okay.
have,
Yeah.
hold on, and
I mean, obviously, I think with first of all the plantation thing, that's true. A lot of the times, though, the mixed race child would work in the
the
house
house as
rather than
well.
the field. Like they would get like the better jobs. I don't know much about slavery, but this is just what I've heard. Um, but in terms of the acting thing and just the media in general, and this whole conversation about just light skinned people in general, mixed race, versus people of a darker complexion, black people, etc. Um, like I would say that it even irritated me. And I think, again, like as I was saying, I feel when I was talking about my experiences, like not being too black or black enough, um, that wasn't me then saying that I understand every single like struggle that a fully black person has gone through or just a darker person in general. Because if I was light skinned, it would be the same issues. Obviously, apart from the fact that I didn't have a white parent, but in terms of my color,
Skin complexion
um,
plays a
yeah,
part, to
my
be
lighter
honest.
complexion, and whether we like to admit or not, colorism is a massive thing.
100.
And with light skinned girls, mixed race girls, there is still that European look about them. And I'm not trying to gas myself up. I don't think that that should be something that is gassed up,
What do
because
you mean when you
that
say,
is
sorry to
so,
cut you, but
like, the lighter color, they sometimes have the looser curls, um, and they aren't fully black, but they have enough to make them exotic. Amount of times that I've heard boys call me exotic. I hate that so much. I find it so degrading, not only to me, but to black girls as well,
so,
because it's like, how am I better than them
just because of my
because I'm
skin
lighter?
complexion. Yeah, yeah, or my curly hair.
So yeah. So I think when it comes to films, we have to understand that that European standard extends to there too. So whether or not I feel black or not, I don't feel darker than I am. So when it comes to a black girl or a black movie, and every single time without fail the main character is a mixture, either a mixed race person or a light skinned girl, I can understand why girls of a darker complexion get upset, because I feel like um there's not enough representation
Of darker skinned
of
people
darker skin tones. And
in the
even
industry.
me, when I watch movies and there's always a lighter girl in there, like, I'm not saying every time it gets me mad, because really and truly they have to act somehow and it'll be wrong. But it is the fact that I get excited when I see a black girl, like a fully
Dark
black
skin,
girl
do you mean?
playing a role. Yeah. But like, if it's not mixed race and it's a black girl, when I see her in a role, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, like, this is really good. And it's like, that shouldn't be the case.